नमस्कार साथियों, सबों का बहुत बहुत आभार आज के मासिक वेबिनार में शामिल होने के लिए। साथियों, आज का जो हमारा विषय है वो खास करके वैसे तमाम लोगों के लिए बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है, जिनके बीच और मन मस्तिष्क में हर हमेशा ये चलते रहता है कि व्यवस्था कैसे सुधरे, बेहतरी कैसे हो, लोगों को के जीवन में जो दुख तकलीफें हैं वो कैसे कम हो। तो इसके लिए हैरान परेशान हताश युवा क्या करता है, कभी इस पार्टी के पीछे, कभी उस पार्टी के पीछे, कभी इस संगठन के पीछे, उस संगठन के पीछे लामबद्ध होते रहता है, और इसी बीच उसकी जो बहुमूल्य समय होता है वो बर्बाद होता है और लास्ट में उसे हासिल कुछ नहीं होता है। तो साथियों, हमारा जो आज का वेबिनार का जो चर्चा का विषय है वो है सर्वहारा चेतना से वैज्ञानिक समाजवाद जरिए राहुल गांधी और भारतीय कम्युनिस्ट। तो साथियों, जैसा कि हमारा वेबिनार का प्रारूप रहता है कि वेबिनार करने से पहले हम लोग एक विस्तृत राइटअप अलग अलग सोशल मीडिया प्लेटफॉर्म पर शेयर करते हैं, और हम पाठकों से उम्मीद रखते हैं कि वो उसको पढ़ें और उससे उठने वाले जो भी प्रश्न है वो वेबिनार में हमारे समक्ष रखेंगे। तो हमारे पास कुछ प्रश्न आए हुए हैं सर,
हाँ।
उस राइटअप के हिसाब
तो
से।
हाँ
तो
तो
जिसमें से मैं पहला पहला
हाँ
प्रश्न मैं रखना चाहूंगा, और चाहूंगा कि हमारे वरिष्ठ सदस्यगण उन सवालों का जो पाठकों के मन मस्तिष्क में उभरा है उसका जवाब दे सर।
हाँ
तो सर, पहला सवाल तो यही आया है पाठकों के द्वारा कि जैसा कि सर राइटअप में भी मेंशन था और हम लोग पहले भी काफी बार बताते रहे हैं, और ये ध्वन्यात्मक भौतिकवाद का नियम भी है, प्रकृति का मूल नियम है कि सर जो प्राकृतिक संसाधनों के स्वामित्व और नियंत्रण के आधार पर उत्पादित जो वस्तुएं होती हैं और जो सेवाएं होती है उनमें हिस्सेदारी का दावा, और जो मानव निर्मित जो उत्पादन के साधन होते हैं सर उनका स्वामित्व और नियंत्रण के आधार पर वस्तुओं और सेवाओं में हिस्सेदारी का दावा, प्रकृति के बाकी दूसरे घटनाओं की तरह दावेदारी की ये प्रक्रियाएं एक दूसरे के साथ सामंजस्य यानी कि एकता में भी तो हो सकती है सर, और एक दूसरे के साथ संघर्ष में भी हो सकती है। तो सर, क्या यह स्पष्ट किया जा सकता है कि यह एकता और संघर्ष सामाजिक, आर्थिक और राजनीतिक क्षेत्र में किस प्रकार सामने आता है सर?
मुझे जो समझ आया है कि इसमें बेसिक क्वेश्चन जो था कि हाउ इज दिस यूनिटी एंड स्ट्रगल ऑफ अपोजिट्स
करेक्ट करेक्ट हाँ सर
on the basis of that, how
हाँ
do you explain all this cleaving of the society or the division of various things,
हाँ करेक्ट हाँ करेक्ट
labor and all? But what is unity and struggle? Because this uh, the law of dialectics, in unity and struggle of opposite, the difference or the contradiction may be conciliable or reconcilable or may not be, may be antagonistic. As long as it is reconcilable, then the system tries to adjust itself so that both opposites can coexist.
ओके
But when it becomes irreconcilable, then one has to go. Negation of negation. So that is the qualitative change. So I think this question basically is that at some stage, to some extent, they will coexist, and then suddenly there has to be a qualitative change, and this unity and struggle of opposite will lead to annihilation of one or the other. This is what I have understood from the question.
ओके सर तो इसमें आपने जो बेसिक आपने अभी जो एस्पेक्ट बोला था, तो ये जो फ्यूडल और बूर्जुआ मोड, बूर्जुआ जो ये मतलब सरप्लस को हटपने का वो है, तो इसमें इज इट रिकंसाइलेबल और इज इट
No.
इररिकंसाइलेबल?
First, we have to understand, identify what are these factors, what are these consciousness or what are these things which are having struggle and are opposite and contradictory to each other. So, what are those things? So, as we have understood that fundamentally the society, what is human society and why it is different from animal? It is different from animal because we produce individually and collectively. So when we produce individually and collectively, that is proletarian consciousness. And as long as everybody is having that consciousness, so they would like to share everything collectively. There should not be any conflict between the two. The conflict arises when the uh, productive forces increase and surplus started coming into picture. Then a group emerges which provides services for distribution. Now, distribution is different service than the productive activity. That you have to be very clear. Productive activity transforms the form of an object, but distribution doesn't. It takes from one end to another. That's all. It's a service only. So this difference you have to understand. Now, over a period of time, those who are providing services, they started accumulating because this part comes from the surplus. After the labor gets compensation for the labor invested, whatever is left, that is surplus. So the difference between relative value and equivalent value, that is the surplus. Now, the man who is acting as the middleman from the producer to the consumer, in between is the middleman. So this surplus is bought over a period of time, increases, and then the middleman starts getting more than what his services should actually get, whatever is the value of the services added. This surplus, when it is accumulated, it takes the form of capital, because now from the surplus is extracted through capital and not through productive activity. So this is the fundamental contradiction between the now two classes. One, which is actually producing, and the other, which is acting as a middleman between the consumer and the producer. And over a period of time, the difference between these two groups becomes more and more accentuated. And that is what is, they cannot exist without each other, but at the same time, they have contradictory interests also. So that is the unity and struggle of two opposite sections of the society, which leads to ultimately that one has to give way to the other. So in the initial stages, the division of labor divides the feudal mode of production and bourgeois mode of production. The struggle is between bourgeois and feudal. When bourgeois becomes strong enough and he starts investing in the uh, capital in the means of production, then this wage labor based labor comes into the picture. Initially, it is not. In the feudal mode of production, the bourgeois section is collecting a surplus through distribution, mercantile capital. But when it starts collecting through production, then the two groups, capitalist and the wage worker, these are the two opposite contradictory factors who have unity and struggle of opposite. They cannot exist without each other, and they cannot exist with each other. So the two groups which were competing with each other, a struggle of two opposites. This is the qualitative change that feudal mode of production gives way to the capitalist mode of production, and a new contradiction emerges. New working class in the form of wage worker emerges, and then the struggle between the two starts. And that's how this develops. So whatever Anup has been explaining, he has been explaining correctly whatever has been happening and how the larger share, the rural class wants to collect and all. But what I wanted to, because I thought this fundamental, what is the unity and struggle of the two opposites, and what are those two opposites, and how these two opposites change as the mode of production changes. Is
ओके
it
सर,
okay?
तो
What I'm saying, do you agree with that?
यस सर। तो आपका जो आर्टिकल का जो मेन थीम था मेन आइडिया था कि प्रधान अंतर विरोध इस समय भारत मतलब अर्थव्यवस्था
Yes,
में
yes,
इट इज बिटवीन द फ्यूडल and the bourgeois,
right, right.
and not between the
Yeah.
bourgeois and the proletariat.
So, so to that extent, you are correct. Why I intervened? Because I thought this question has to be addressed with the fundamental of Marxism.
Okay, okay,
On that basis, we will analyze the Indian contradiction.
okay, okay. सर
That's
तो
why I intervened. I'm sorry for that.
नहीं नहीं सर, आपने अच्छा किया है। वो तो ये जो ये जो फ्यूडल और बूर्जवा के बीच में जो स्ट्रगल है, तो दिस स्ट्रगल
Uh,
इज एन irreconcilable और विल इट रिकनसाइल, और at times it can reconcile
it,
and
it will reconcile only to that extent that it can.
okay,
When the contradiction becomes so sharp that the society will be going towards civil war kind of thing. That
okay,
is when there has to be a qualitative change. So whatever is happening, whether it was Anna Andolan, whether it is now about the NEET examination or paper leak, and whatever all this is happening, this is leading to the situation that the contradiction will no more remain reconcilable.
okay,
It will turn into antagonistic, and then it has to be a qualitative change.
okay सर, ठीक है, ठीक है सर। तो फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन का तो
And qualitative change will start from the political arena. So right now, the political power at the state level in India is controlled by feudal autocratically consciousness. All kinds of consciousness will be there because India is not a homogeneous society.
हाँ यहाँ,
But collectively, because we are a unitary structure where central government has the maximum power, so central government is being guided and controlled by which consciousness? It is feudal autocratic consciousness, which BJP or RSS represent. When will the qualitative change occur? It will occur when bourgeois democratic forces are in power. When will they come in power? When bourgeois democratic forces are concentrated at one place. Right now, they are divided and spread in all regional political parties and Congress. But this polarization within Congress is also taking place slowly, slowly. I was talking to somebody today that this Priyank Khadge, the question he has raised about RSS, nobody till in last 70 years, nobody could dare raise that question. At Congress, at one stage when Sardar Patel was there, RSS was banned for a very short time and then it was again. Because Hindu fundamentalist forces are so strong in all the political parties that it's not very easy to fight against RSS. But Priyank Khadge raising this question shows that where the struggle is leading to. And ultimately, it will lead to that where there will be a qualitative change.
दूसरा क्वेश्चन एक है सर, इसी से संबंधित है। तो वो क्वेश्चन कुछ ऐसा है सर कि जो भी वस्तु और जो सेवाएं हैं जो उत्पादन होती है, तो उनको जो सर विनिमय करने का कार्य जो है कमर्शियल और मर्केंटाइल कैपिटल यानी कि वाणिज्यिक पूंजी और व्यापारिक पूंजी करती है। और उसी हिसाब पर वो क्या है कि जो वस्तु और जो सेवा उत्पादन होता है उसमें ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा हिस्सेदारी की मांग करती है। वहीं सर दूसरी ओर जो इंडस्ट्रियल कैपिटल है यानी कि जो औद्योगिक पूंजी है सर, वो उत्पादन प्रक्रिया को चूंकि वो सुलभ बनाती है और सारी चीजें वहीं से निकल करके आती है, तो वो उस आधार पर जो है उत्पादित सेवाओं और सामान में से अपना हिस्सा मांगती है। तो सर पिछले प्रश्न की ही तरह क्या इन दोनों के बीच में एकता और संघर्ष का भी विस्तार से समझाया जा सकता है, और कि इस आधार पर सामाजिक, आर्थिक और राजनीतिक क्षेत्र में किस प्रकार से सामने आता है यह जो एकता और संघर्ष है सर?
हाँ तो जैसे हमने अभी लास्ट क्वेश्चन में देखा था कि ये इनिशियल ओरिजिन तो मर्केंटाइल कैपिटल का ही होता है, फिर वो उसको बैकिंग इंटीग्रेट करके ये आपका इंडस्ट्रियल में पर्पस के लिए भी कैपिटल यूज करना शुरू कर देता है। तो फिर वो वेज लेबर जो पहले सिर्फ जो आपका ट्रेडिंग के लिए यूज करता था, ट्रेडर्स के लिए जो काम करने वाला लायक था, तो उसके बाद वो जो आपका गुड्स का प्रोडक्शन में भी ये वेज लेबर आपका इसमें चला जाता है, वेज लेबर का सिस्टम आना शुरू हो जाता है। तो आपका जो सरप्लस, तो ठीक है, जैसे सर ने बोला था कि प्रोडक्शन का प्रोसेस में ही सरप्लस प्रोड्यूस होगा जितना ये है, तो उसमें सरप्लस का कितना हिस्सा जो आपका तो आपको ये जो, क्योंकि अनलेस एंड अनटिल आपका प्रोडक्ट उत्पाद होके फाइनल सर्कुलेशन में जाके कंजम्पशन तक हो जाता है, तब तक वो पूरा साइकिल जब तक नहीं होता है तो आपको सरप्लस एक्सट्रैक्शन नहीं हो पाता है। तो इन दैट रेस्पेक्ट आपको दोनों, मतलब कॉमर्शियल कैपिटल और आपका जो ये इंडस्ट्रियल कैपिटल, दोनों को एक दूसरे का जरूरत पड़ता है। क्योंकि अगर इंडस्ट्रियल कैपिटल प्रोडक्शन को कंट्रोल किया है और प्रोड्यूस भी कर दिया, लेकिन अनलेस एंड अनटिल दे आर एबल टू सेल इट आउट, देन उनका तो सरप्लस एक्सट्रैक्शन का वो साइकिल कंप्लीट नहीं होता है। और सिमिलरली ये जो कमर्शियल कैपिटल जो है, उनको अगर मान लीजिए वो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन नेटवर्क को पूरा कंट्रोल में रख दिया और उससे उन्होंने जो आपका डिफरेंस सरप्लस अपने में हड़पने के ट्राई किया, लेकिन जब तक प्रोडक्शन नहीं होगा उसको कंट्रोल करके कोई उनको डिलीवर नहीं करता है, तब तक वो भी आगे नहीं बढ़ पाता है। तो इसलिए ये यूनिटी इनके लिए जरूरी भी है, जरूरी है। तो ये तो इसका यूनिटी का एस्पेक्ट हो गया। मतलब लेकिन इसका स्ट्रगल कहाँ पे शुरू होता है कि कितने हिस्से अपने पास रखने का ट्राई करता है, उसी पे इसका जो आपका ये दोनों अपने अपने इंटरेस्ट के हिसाब से ज्यादा अपने ज्यादा से ज्यादा हिस्सा अपने अंदर रखने के लिए, अपने कंट्रोल में रखने के लिए ट्राई कर देता है। लेकिन वो आपको दोनों के बीच का लड़ाई इसी के ऊपर चलता है। और राज सत्ता को कंट्रोल करके, खास करके अगर आप देखा जाए तो राज सत्ता को कंट्रोल करके आपका आपका फेवरेबल डिसीजंस लेके, मतलब फेवरेबल नीतियां लागू करवाने में ज्यादातर आपको ये वाणिज्यिक पूंजी ये आ जाता है। इसीलिए क्रॉनिक कैपिटलिज्म जो टर्म यूज होता है, वो भी एक टाइप ऑफ कमर्शियल कैपिटल ही आपका ये है। और इसी के चलते है, इसके रिफ्लेक्शन आपको उनका दोनों का पॉलिटिकल आइडियोलॉजी में भी आता है। क्योंकि कमर्शियल कैपिटल के लिए ये अच्छा रहता है कि लोग आज से कंज्यूमर बिखराव रहे, और लोग आपका जो है ट्रेड और इसमें कंट्रोल रहे। लेकिन इंडस्ट्रियल कैपिटल के लिए ये अच्छा रहता है कि सबसे कम इसमें रॉ मटेरियल्स मिले, और सबसे कम कॉस्ट में आपका जो ये लेबर इनपुट मिले, तो ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोग एडुकेटेड हो जाए और लेबर मार्केट में आ जाए, और स्किल्ड होके लेबर मार्केट में आ जाए। और ये सब चीज तो उसी का अनुरूप पॉलिसीज भी आपको रिफ्लेक्ट करना शुरू होगा। तो ये इसमें भी जैसे अभी मैं सर से इंटरवीन करना चाहता हूँ कि क्या ये स्ट्रगल और यूनिटी भी रिकंसाइलेबल है, या एक स्टेज में ये भी वन विल सुपरवेल ओवर द अदर होगा?
ये यू आर आस्किंग मी टू
यस
आंसर
सर।
दिस क्वेश्चन?
मतलब इससे एक एक जैसे आपने लास्ट एग्जाम्पल में दिया था, तो इसमें।
अदरवाइज ऑल्सो आई वांटेड टू,
हाँ।
क्योंकि आपने जो कहा कि दोनों में सरप्लस ज्यादा से ज्यादा लेने का, दैट इज द स्ट्रगल, इजंट इट? यही
यस
कहा
सर।
ना आपने?
हाँ, ऐसे, हाँ।
नहीं, पर वो दोनों अपोजिट कैसे हैं? उनमें भी आपस में इफ बोथ आर सेम, तो फिर तो स्ट्रगल नहीं होना चाहिए उनके बीच में। बट व्हाई दैट स्ट्रगल इज? द स्ट्रगल इज बिकॉज दिस सरप्लस, one section which is dominated by proletarian consciousness, it wants to have maximum share of the surplus for the benefit of all, for the collective benefit, while the bourgeois consciousness wants to distribute this surplus amongst individuals who are owning different properties. whosoever owns more property should get more share. This is what is the hidden idea behind the bourgeois consciousness. While the proletarian consciousness, the wage workers'
हाँ
proletarian consciousness, it doesn't want to distribute this surplus individually.
हाँ
This I had discussion with my Marxist friends when it happened in Singur, after which CPM lost and Mamata Banerjee came, because the land which was being given to Tatas, those who were given land at the time of land to the tiller, so they all had become bourgeois after owning that plot of land. So that bourgeois, they were dominated by bourgeois consciousness. That's why Communist Party lost. So the most important aspect is that you must, while analyzing these contradictions, you must keep this in mind that proletarian consciousness wants surplus for collective benefit, like what they are doing in China, while the bourgeois consciousness wants this for individual ownership. So this is the fundamental difference.
ओके सर लेकिन ये जो क्वेश्चन था दुर्गेश जी का वो था कि ये इंडस्ट्रियल कैपिटल और कमर्शियल कैपिटल वो उसके दोनों के बीच में जो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट और उसका तो वो क्या इरेकंसाइलेबल है या इरेकंसाइलेबल?
देखिए उनके बीच में नहीं, उसका रिकॉन्साइलेबल है नहीं है, बिकॉज कमर्शियल कैपिटल वुड नॉट लाइक टू इन्वेस्ट इन प्रोडक्शन, but as the things grow, the capital becomes so powerful that it starts controlling everything. So what is being controlled through supply chain, it is being production and supply or distribution, both are being controlled by the same finance capital.
ओके
Those who are owning huge banks or trust or capital, they are lending it or giving it to both for production and for distribution,
ओके
and extracting surplus from both ends. So at one stage, they merge into one
ओके
against the proletarian consciousness.
ओके ओके
Is it clear?
यस सर ठीक है तो
Durgesh,
लेकिन
is this answer clear for your question?
तो सर इंडियन कॉन्टेक्स्ट में तो ये जो मर्ज आपने इसमें लिखा है कि वाणिज्यिक पूंजी एक तरफ है और ये आपका औद्योगिक पूंजी एक तरफ है तो अभी वो अभी मर्ज हुआ नहीं है मतलब अगेंस्ट।
नहीं, अभी नहीं, वो इंडिया में भी कहाँ है, अभी किसी एक के कंट्रोल में या दो चार पांच के कंट्रोल में नहीं है। अडानी अंबानी के और भी वो हैं, हजारों और बड़े बड़े कॉर्पोरेट्स हैं, एंड फाइनेंस फॉरेन कैपिटल भी है जो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं। कार मैन्युफैक्चरिंग है, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग है, एयरपोर्ट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग है, कंस्ट्रक्शन है, ये सारी चीजें। और मर्केंटाइल कैपिटल अपनी अलग जगह है। तो अभी तो स्ट्रगल है, इट इज नॉट यूनिफाइड अंडर वन अम्ब्रेला। इवन फॉरेन कैपिटल एंड डोमेस्टिक कैपिटल, देयर इज ए कंट्राडिक्शन बिटवीन द टू।
ठीक है ठीक।
So in Indian context, these things will not be very simple. They'll be very, very complicated. So you have to be careful while analyzing them. They have to be analyzed on the basis of time and space both. Whatever contradictions are here may not be there in Kerala. For instance, a few days ago, when Rahul Gandhi said that I'm not going to hug the Chief Minister of Kerala, he meant some other thing, that there is only two parties which are struggling for the political space. Marxist party there is not a Marxist party in true sense. They are also bourgeois party like Congress only. But there is a struggle between them because BJP is not there.
Yes, sir. Okay.
So, but that doesn't mean at the center, when you have to fight against BJP, you should not join hands. Under India umbrella is only for the center, not for the states. If communist parties or any other regional parties want to mix these two, it will not lead to fragmentation of India. Government. India Gathbandhan will be successful only when regional parties realize that the struggle at center and the struggle at state are two different things. Because of our structure is diarchy structure. States also have got certain power. It's not that they are completely powerless against the central government. It is a diarchy system. The states also have got certain powers and center, but center is more powerful because all the armed forces are under the control of the central government. And central agencies like taxation, or now after GST, they have brought complete taxation under their control. The center has brought it under control. So state machineries have hardly any resources available. They are always at the mercy of the central. So while analyzing the political economic situation of this country, we have to be very, very careful. Others are not, but as Marxists, you should be careful to see where what laws are applicable.
ओके।
सर तीसरा सवाल ये आया था, जैसा कि सर हम लोग देख रहे हैं कि 2024 के बाद से हर चुनाव में सर स्पष्ट रूप से एक चीज दिखाई दे रहा है, जैसे कि हम लोगों ने झारखंड में भी देखा, जम्मू कश्मीर के भी चुनाव में देखा कि जो क्षेत्रीय दल थे सर, उनका प्रदर्शन में गिरावट आया है, चाहे वो भाजपा गठबंधन के हो या फिर इंडिया गठबंधन के हो। तो सर कहना ये था कि ऐतिहासिक भौतिकवाद के परिप्रेक्ष्य में सर इसका विश्लेषण कैसे किया जा सकता है? क्या हम इससे ये समझेंगे कि जो बुर्जुआ चेतना और सामंतवादी चेतना के बीच में जो स्पष्ट विभाजन रेखा जो लोगों को भी समझ में आ रही है, और सर्वहारा चेतना की ओर पूरा समाज हमारा जा रहा है सर, इस पे कुछ विस्तार से बताएं सर।
देखिए, अभी बड़ी फ्लूइड सिचुएशन है। देयर इज स्ट्रगल बिकॉज फिर समझिए कंट्री की इट्स ए वेरी कॉम्प्लेक्स कंट्री। तो तीनों फोर्सेस, फ्यूडल, bourgeois and proletarian, working class, they are struggling for their own space. Wherever whosoever is getting upper hand, they are going according to that. So this is the period of turmoil. You will not be able to have a very clear-cut demarcation at any place. And with the time also it is changing. So you have to be very, very aware about that. Don't have any fixed results as far as the analysis of the country is concerned. You have to see different situations in a dynamic framework. Today, you may have to support certain ideas because students are dying, struggling. It may be a different, tomorrow it may be different. So you have to be very, very vigilant that you cannot have a fixed, at present, things are very, very fluid. I cannot say more than this because things are fluid. They are not under my control.
और सर इसी का रिलेटेड क्या हम भी जैसे यूएसए जैसे टू पार्टी सिस्टम में जाएगा फाइनली, मतलब इन द लॉन्ग रन?
देखिए, यूएस में टू पार्टी सिस्टम तो एक ही पार्टी एक्चुअली, सेम कॉन्शियसनेस, बिकॉज दे आर काइंड ऑफ एट द हेड ऑफ वर्ल्ड इकोनॉमी. So
ओके।
the two-party system does not mean it actually is on the basis of economic consideration, economic analysis. It's not. It is only for political power. But economic, on the basis of economy, when you analyze, it's a different economy, unified economy for the whole America. It is not divided like different areas, like India is a divided country. Different nationalities, different way of working, different means of production, level of development, everything is different.
ओके।
American economy basically is crony capitalism. They are collecting funds from all over the world. It is protection money which America is collecting from different states. They have got 800, more than 800 bases throughout the world. And they are collecting protection money from every country. That is what is their economy, basically. And their production is mainly only for armaments production, and of course research and development, because they know the value of intellectual property. But otherwise, everything is coming. You go to America, in any store in America, you will not find any goods produced in America. You'll find everything coming from China, from Taiwan, from South Korea, from Bangladesh, Philippines, India, Pakistan. Hardly anything being manufactured from in America, you will find in the American stores.
सर क्वेश्चन ये था सर कि कांग्रेस ने भूतकाल में जो
हाँ,
साहबानों का जो केस था सर उसको पलट दिया था, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने जो फैसला दिया था, और
हाँ,
उसके बाद उन्होंने सर बाबरी मस्जिद में पूजा करने की भी इजाजत दे दी थी हिंदू लोगों को। तो
हाँ।
सर क्या ये कांग्रेस के अंदर व्याप्त सामंतवादी तत्वों का प्रतिनिधित्व नहीं करती है, ये सवाल था सर।
नहीं, तो कांग्रेस के अंदर तो हैं ही दोनों एलिमेंट, और कांग्रेस का मिडिल पाथ वाली पॉलिसी भी इज पार्ट ऑफ दैट. So they will sometime appear to be appeasing Hindu fundamentalists, sometime appease the Muslims also.
ओके।
This is a part of Congress culture, Congress character. Not only Shah Banu, this from the very beginning it has been happening.
ओके।
तो सर क्या ये जो चीजें किए किए जाते हैं कांग्रेस पार्टी के द्वारा, तो सर क्या ये नहीं बताता है कि जो बुर्जुआ चेतना है उनका वो कमजोर पड़ जाता है, इस वजह से ये ऐसा निर्णय लेते हैं? जबकि सर बुर्जुआ लोगों को तो अगर कोर्ट का डिसीजन था तो उसको उसी पे छोड़ देना था, उसमें हस्तक्षेप नहीं करना था।
देखिए, कांग्रेस कैन नॉट रिमेन aloof from whatever this nation, whatever is this country. So in this country, when the struggle between, as I told you, three main consciousness on the basis of economic relationships. No particular class is in full control. It's a very fluid situation, and Congress has to respond to that fluid situation. That is the basic character of Congress. So you will not be in a position to analyze everything in a very precise manner, because the moment the time you take analyzing, in the meantime the situation changes. It's changing so fast in this country. So basically you have to understand what is the principal contradiction and where it should be intervened. For as Marxists, we know that this country must go towards scientific socialism, but for going there, it has to be increased in the productivity of the country. Now, whosoever represents productive is standing for productivity in this country, they all should be supported. And productive that will require a support from the government. So whosoever is sitting in the government. So those factors who are not at one platform, but time will push them, and our effort should also be to push them that they unite. That's why I say that those who are Marxists, they should support Rahul Gandhi, so that there is polarization within the Congress, and Congress becomes more homogeneous bourgeois party rather than mix of feudal and bourgeois. It has to be clean. There has to be this is a principal contradiction within Congress also, and someday or the other it has to be. The feudal elements will have to leave Congress. Congress will be the ultimate bourgeois party, which will be in the lead in this country. जैसा एंगल्स ने कहा था, अंतिम युद्ध तो bourgeois democracy में लड़ा है. So Congress will be the representative of that democracy, and there will be the final struggle between the working class. So, because that is what is my analysis, that's why I support that whatever elements Rahul represent, Rahul as an individual, because as Marxists we don't consider individuals. Rahul is for us is representing only a particular ideology within Congress. And we support that ideology. And that ideology is to increase productivity. And in politics, level playing field for all.
कि सर अभी वर्तमान में देखा जाए तो राजनीतिक पटल पर सर बहुत सारे हलचलें हुई है, जिसमें से कि हम एक तरफ से बात कर रहे हैं, हम विमर्श कर रहे हैं कि कांग्रेस के पीछे सभी पार्टियों को लामबंद होना चाहिए, वैसे जो सामंतवादी ताकत से लड़ना चाहते हैं। तो लेकिन सर वर्तमान में अभी हम लोग देखेंगे तो कांग्रेस और डीएमके के बीच में विवाद हो गया तमिलनाडु में, कांग्रेस और सीपीएम के बीच में विवाद हो गया केरला में, और सर आम आदमी पार्टी और कांग्रेस के बीच में भी दरार हो चुका है। और ऊपर से सर बाकी जो स्टेट के जो राज्यसभा जो भी चुनाव हुआ, उसमें भी काफी भीतरघाती हमले हुए हैं कांग्रेस और उसके सहयोगी दलों के अंदर। तो सर एक मार्क्सवादी के रूप में सर ये जो हताशा निराशा की जो स्थिति उत्पन्न हो गई है, तो इन भावनाओं पर कैसे काबू पाया जा सकता है सर?
किस मार्क्सवादी? जो मार्क्सवादी है उसको तो हताशा नहीं है, कम से कम मुझे तो नहीं है। मैं तो पिछले 20 साल से चाहे अकेले ही हूँ एसएफएस के ऊपर, लेकिन वो बात सही हो रही है धीमे धीमे। कंट्री उसी दिशा में जाएगा और कोई रास्ता नहीं है। हिस्टोरिकल मटेरियल शोज कि प्रोलेटेरियन कॉन्शियसनेस से साइंटिफिक सोशलिज्म की कॉन्शियसनेस की तरफ, दिस इज द नेचुरल प्रोसेस, दिस इज द नेचुरल लॉ। नाउ who are the elements who will be supporting this process? There will be elements who will be opposing also, because that is always there. Those who will support, they are called progressive because they support the natural direction of development. Those who oppose it, they are counter-revolutionary because they are trying to stop that natural process, delaying that. This is the fundamental of Marxism. So we understand Marxist, we know that it has to go from proletarian consciousness to scientific socialism. And for that, who are the factors, who are the elements, where are they? So they are within the Congress, they are within regional parties also, they are within various communist group also, because those who have got basic understanding of Marxism, only they will be able to realize this. Those who do not, they will go for utopian socialism. Now, when these Marxists are spread all over different parties, so what is our role as a platform society for science? We try to bring into discussion various current affairs on the lines of Marxist analysis, so that those who are Marxists, they will be able to identify this and they will also try to come together. So our role will be to facilitate that they all come together. As the title of today's topic is, through whom? From proletarian consciousness to scientific socialism, via whom? Through whom? So those whom are those within the Congress, those within various communist parties, those who are not in any political parties like ourselves. But they all will have to be Marxist, basically. Because non-Marxists will go for utopian socialism, and those who are Marxists, they will go for scientific socialism. So the route towards scientific socialism, as the title says of our discussion, will be via Rahul. Rahul doesn't mean Rahul Gandhi as an individual. Rahul Gandhi means those elements within the Congress which represent this ideology. And why only focusing on Congress? Because ultimately we know through historical material that ultimately it will be the Congress which ultimate fight will be between Congress and BJP. Congress will be the ultimate flag bearer of Russia Democratic Forces. So we support that element in the Congress, and we want that there should be cleansing in the Congress. Those who are fundamental and feudal elements within the Congress should be thrown out. That's all.
Question here that the nature of the Indian society is different from the Chinese and the Russian and also from the other European and American society. So, and the result is that that's why the freedom movement of India is different from the other revolutionary movements that happened in the Cuba, in Russia, and also in other countries. So, my question to you here is that when you say that the path of the development or the path of the is from the proletariat to the scientific socialism, and the situation of the left as a political party in India is completely diminished right now. So why are you so confirmed that it will be the path of the development in India? Means my question to you here is that how do this approach will be suitable in Indian context, in Indian scenario? What do you think about it? When we use the term like from proletariat to the scientific consciousness or scientific socialism, how do it is too much relevant in India in Indian circumstances, sir?
Okay, as I said, India, China, Russia, America, Iran, whatever, anywhere where human being is living on this earth, there the path will be from proletarian consciousness to scientific socialism. That means when in this process, when the society was divided between those who believe in collective and those who believe in the individuals, that emerged in this society during the development process, as the productive forces increase. But nature says ultimately human society has to go in that direction. On whichever part of the earth human society might have evolved, but ultimate it has to go through that path. So this we believe as Marxists that this is what is going to happen in India also. Now China is different, Iran is different, everywhere it is different, but ultimately every local condition will decide who will be, how the forces will be united and all. So Indian freedom struggle from the very beginning has been ahead of the productive forces. It is on the basis of relationship, only in political arena, because the relations of production you cannot change without changing the means of production. But political arena, because it is ideological, it is based on imagination and consciousness and idea. So it can move ahead of the. So in political arena, the relations may move ahead of this, but ultimately they have to be in line with the productive forces. So in India, they have been ahead. Sometimes they've been backward, and it is a mixed economy. I've analyzed this in my one that British India, British rule was not unified. But in this my article also, Britain was ruling India in two parts. One was under their direct control, where bourgeois forces were increasing, bourgeois consciousness was increasing, and the other was under the control of the feudal lords, princely states where Britishers never intervened. Till 1947, there was 600 different states where the Indian law did not apply. It was only after 47 that they were unified, but still privy pursuit and all continued. So politically, Nehru tried to bring under one entity, but consciousness was different. So every segment of this country, 600 different states, they were still living with the same consciousness. All princely representatives were winning elections. Even today, Jyotiraditya Scindia, Vasundhara Raje, everywhere you will find that. So whatever is ये जो परिवारवाद है, it is basically feudalism. So this is continuing and this will continue because our productive forces have not increased and they are still far behind others. We may call that we have got very good infrastructure and all, but your bridges are falling every day. Your highways are dug up every 100, 200, every 10, 15, 20 kilometers. So it's a mixed economy. Let's realize it's mixed economy and consciousness is also mixed. So what is your concern that left forces? There was no left forces. In 1925, those who put up the what happened to your the initial who are those who set up this Communist Party in 1925? Where were they? They left Communist parties. Somebody went here, somebody went there. They were all chained in the foreign country. They are all the leaders had foreign wives also. So they had not any understanding of Marxism. Even Bhagat Singh, I have written my article, I have explained that Bhagat Singh was not Marxist. He himself has confessed that he was an anarchist. It is only after he was sentenced to death and he was living in his prison cell, then he realized that what Marxism is. But it was too late for him. So this is a historical fact. This country has to move according to laws of nature historically. And what we call communist parties, they are not. Because in 63, they don't even know what they did, what was the split. Even today, they don't know why 40 different entities. Everybody is having own. It is a bourgeois thinking that leader is everything. This is a bourgeois thinking. This is not a Marxist thing. So there has not been a Marxist party. Marxism is still not very prevalent. Very few people understand Marxism, so it's very far off. Congress is moving in the right direction with the right approach because of its historical background and because of historical background of Rahul Gandhi family also, that they know the importance of uh, democracy, uh, and the development. And Rahul Gandhi, before coming into politics, he studied the three pillars of Marxism: economy, political science, and philosophy. It's a different thing that there is no publicity about it. And he knows because he's a Marxist, he knows publicity about his personal gains is not going to serve the purpose. It is the policies which he will be supporting will ultimately be important for the country. And he's following the correct policies. He's promoting the correct policies. You see, this on 8th, this conclave of this, what he says, आप मुझे गाली दे लो, मुझे कितना भी कह लो, मैं नाराज नहीं होने वाला हूँ, मैं सबको पी जाऊंगा शिव की तरह, बिकॉज मेरा एम दूसरा है, अपने लिए नहीं जी रहा हूँ, मैं जी रहा हूँ किसी ऑब्जेक्टिव के लिए, whether I am there or not, that objective is there. So this is the fundamental difference between other political parties and Congress, that in Congress there is a small group, call it Nehru Gandhi family and his lackeys or his supporter, whatever it is, but there it is there and it has to grow. This is the natural path of progress in this country. This is my analysis. You may agree or not, that is up to you. But we should always discuss. If you see anything wrong in my analysis, you must point out.
About freedom in 1947. And if Nehru had the understanding of this Marxist thinking or this socialistic type of model of thinking, but still he adopted the mixed economic model in it. And the problem here, I'm trying to message here. Here, I'm trying to say that the nature of the Indian society is different from the other societies. That's why the model of development we choose in India is different from the other model of developments. Or the form of Marxism applied in the Indian society will be different. Obviously, it will be the reflection of the Indian society, how to apply it in it here in Indian society. So that's why the question is that the left party diminished in India and still, as you said, that a party which is based on a homogeneous religious identity is now within power. So my question to you is that why it happened in India? If if the right Marxist thinking applied in any part of the country in India, it will be reflected in the central political regime also. So why we lag behind in it, sir? Matlab, it's not about Rahul Gandhi. Listen to me, sir. It's not about Rahul Gandhi. It's not about an individual. It's about the objective conditions. What are the objective condition in India and how a party can perform more proficiently in India? My question to you here is that.
The fundamental difference between all other and our Indian society goes back to 250 years ago. That time we were also a very primitive feudal society. When East India Company came here, they unified this country because they had absolute right from the British Parliament to trade in India. No other English company was allowed to trade in India. That was fundamental beginning. So they were able to control this whole Indian peninsula, which was the biggest colony almost equal to what Europe itself could be. This whole Indian subcontinent was under the control of one entity, East India Company. And British democracy was the most advanced when Europe was struggling for monarchies in the early 18th century. Britain had adopted limited parliamentary democracy and controlled the monarchy in 17th century. They were far ahead as far as the political understanding of the process was concerned. And after 1857, 1858, British knew what is going to happen in India. That's why they disbanded the East India Company and took charge of the control of the whole Indian peninsula and tried to run it on the same lines that Britain was being run. You read the address of Queen Victoria of 1858 in Allahabad, which the Viceroy had read, said clearly that we will not interfere in the traditional, religious, and cultural and property rights of the people, because it's very, very difficult. People are very sentimental about this. So all this far-sightedness of Britishers came to Indian subcontinent in 1858 itself. And 1885, they put Congress. Then there is no other political party or entity in India. Indian themselves started on religious lines. Then 1858, Queen Victoria declared that India will be run on the same line as British subject is being done. Hindus set up R.S. Samaj in 1875, and Muslims put up Aligarh school in the same 1875 year. So in 1875, Hindus and Muslims started uniting or seeing themselves as separate religious identities, while Indian National Congress was seeing it on secular line. That's why Indian National Congress was able to unite the whole nation. Every different state was different. Still, they were able to unite because all stalwarts in Congress were being trained in Britain. They were all studying in Britain. They were following the British jurisprudence. They were following the British parliamentary affairs, how this, and through the Governor's Council, slowly in 1909, then in 1919, then in 1935, Britishers slowly inducted Indians, much ahead of 1817, 1917, when Soviet Revolution took place, Britishers knew very well what is going to happen in all over the world and how freedom struggle and how other parties will struggle for colonies. That's why they brought in 1919. They brought in the first government of India rule in which elected representatives were there, different. So India has been through Congress and through Britishers, not through Congress. Britishers has been nurturing and supporting Congress, no other party. So in fact, the Congress was being trained also by Britishers how to move ahead because Britain did not want India to get out of the Commonwealth. All these are historical facts. When you study all the history of the Indian independence, you will find that this is how the things were unfolding, and Britishers very clear that religious sentiments will not be, if we touch religious sentiments, we will be finished. So they did not bring in uniform civil code. The communal award of 1932, 33 or 33, when different electoral colleges for Muslim and for the Dalits also, and Ambedkar surrendered before Gandhi. No, Harijan will not be. Harijan are part of Hindu. And communal award had to be withdrawn for untouchables or for Dalits. So these are all historical facts. Communist parties were nowhere. They were just like any other bourgeois party, that's all. Because they were all product. All those who supported Jayaprakash Narak, they were all at one time in the Congress. देखिए, एक फंडामेंटल चीज तो आप ये रखिए दिमाग में, डोंट कंपेयर इंडिया विद वियतनाम और क्यूबा और नॉर्थ कोरिया और एनीथिंग, दे आर ऑल homogeneous societies. India is not.
Right, sir. Okay, yes,
The
sir. Right,
India you can compare with
right,
China. That is because China is also a very heterogeneous societies, different ethnicities, different communities, a very rich
right, sir.
heritage. The fundamental difference occurred in 1920s when Chinese Communist Party 1925 they established a different line. They established on the basis of Marxism. And Indian Communist Party was based on revisionism. That was from where they diversified. Communist movement might have taken a different course or might not have taken a different course than what China, but because there was no Marxism available in this country at that point of time, they were all revisionists trained in the bourgeois ideology. So there was nothing which could take India on that path on which China was taken. China,
Right, sir. Right, sir.
China,
Right, sir. I agree with you. Yes, sir.
you read China, Mao Zedong's that new democracy. They evolved the concept of new democracy, how democracy will emerge in China, not as it emerged in Europe or Britain. It will emerge in a different manner. But we chose same democratic model which Britain was using.
Yes, sir. Right, sir. Now it is clear, sir.
इसमें सर विजय की तरफ से ये सवाल भी ऐड कर लें और हमारा भी कि नेहरू को भी उसमें ऐड कर लें कि जिस रास्ते पे चाइना और चाइनीज कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी निकली वो अलग रास्ता हुआ और उसके आज अलग फ्रूट्स हैं। इंडिया में हम ठीक है, हमारे कॉलोनियल मास्टर्स थे, उसके बावजूद जो कॉन्शसनेस का रोल है जिसको 1917 के बाद वो इंटरनेशनल हो गई थी, उस पर्सपेक्टिव से देखे और इंडियन कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी इंक्लूडिंग अगर उसमें नेहरू को भी शामिल कर ले, वो अगर रिविजनिज्म पे बेस ना करके किस पे बेस करते कि वो इंडिया को भी आप कम्युनिस्ट सीधे उसमें ले जा सकते थे रूल में।
Rajinder, history cannot answer ifs and buts. Because with ifs, there are so many probabilities which course the nature will take, you cannot predict. Astrology nahi hai. Marxism is not astrology. We can only identify the laws. A law of probability and law of certainty both function simultaneously. Saath ke saath. This role reversal takes place because of that only. The master becomes slave and slave becomes master, depending on the conditions. So let us first of all grasp that the fundamental laws of nature, dialectical materialism, which is the fundamental of Marx, is unchangeable. It is eternal. Those who say that Marx has to develop or evolve, they are absolutely wrong. Marxism is not to evolve. Marxism is eternal truth of this nature. Knowledge on the basis of Marxism will keep on growing. But the fundamentals will not. Dialectical materialism will not. Historical materialism, the fundamentals will not change as long as human society is on this planet. So, without answering these ifs and buts, what I would like to say that because the conditions were not available in this country for Marxism to be available, because Marxism is not product of proletariat. Marxism is not in the subconscious of the proletariat. Marxism is in the conscious domain, conscious mind of the bourgeois intellectuals, middle class bourgeois, lower middle class bourgeois intellectuals, those who dealt with philosophy, those who did research and dealt on that. Scientific socialism is a product of that. It is nothing natural. The process is natural, but this knowledge, what scientific socialism is and how it can be brought by intervention of the political, this is man-made. And this whole thing has been made by bourgeois intellectuals, whether it is Marx or Engels, whether it is Lenin, whether it is, they are, Stalin may have come from a very lower background, But ultimately, he was a bourgeois intellectual. Because bourgeois intellectuals, they get this opportunity to think like scientists, those who create new machines on the basis of knowledge of science. It is the creation of human mind, not of natural creation. So all these ideologies and theories, they are creation of the human mind and not natural.
दैट इज ट्रू सर, दैट इज वो लेनिन भी जो बोलता है, कॉन्शसनेस फ्रॉम आउटसाइड, वर्किंग
Yes,
क्लास में जो कॉन्शसनेस है साइंटिफिक सोशलिज्म की, दैट हैज टू बी ब्रॉट फ्रॉम आउटसाइड,
yes, by the
लेफ्ट
middle
टू
class.
देमसेल्व्स. हाँ, left to themselves they cannot grow beyond workers and trade unions, beyond their economism.
Yes,
दैट इज ट्रू. बट इसमें हमारा एक ये जहाँ पे एक इशू ये है, इससे तो हमारा इंडियन डेमोक्रेसी और इंडियन सोसाइटी का फेट सील हो गया बिकॉज ऑफ आवर कॉलोनियल मास्टर्स.
yes,
देन तो ये फेट सील हो गया जब हम उसे कंडीशंस मान लेते हैं कि यस, कंडीशंस में ब्रिटिशर्स आए. अब उन्होंने कांग्रेस पार्टी लॉन्च कर दी 1885 में, उन्होंने बनवाई, उन्होंने एक तरह से कांग्रेस को बुर्जुआजी पार्टी बनवाने के लिए जो भी सपोर्ट करनी है, स्पेशली 1917 के बाद उस प्रोसेस को तेज भी किया ब्रिटिशर्स ने इंडिया में.
yes,
करेक्ट सर. लेकिन वहीं पर वो जो लेनिन वाली बात है कि जो मार्क्सिस्ट है इनका तो यही काम है कि भाई जैसे इंडस्ट्री टेक्नोक्रेट साइंटिस्ट होते हैं, लेबोरेटरी में काम
yes,
करते हैं, जैसे यूरोप में सारी डिस्कवरीज हुई हैं साइंस की, फिजिक्स की, केमिस्ट्री की, बायोलॉजी की. दैट्स द कॉन्शियस वर्क ऑफ दोज इंटेलेक्चुअल्स, एंड इंटेलेक्चुअल्स कम्स फ्रॉम पैटी बुर्जुआ बैकग्राउंड.
yes,
दैट इज ट्रू. उसी
yes,
पैटी बुर्जुआ बैकग्राउंड से मार्क्स भी आए हैं, लेनिन भी आए हैं, एंगल्स
yes,
भी आए हैं.
yes,
अब वो मार्क्स एंगल्स लेनिन आते हैं, और जब ये बात है कि 1917 के बाद एक चीज आ गई है जो इंडिया में देखा जाए, पॉलिटिकल इकोनॉमी, इकोनॉमिक टर्म्स में हमारी वो कंडीशंस नहीं थी इतनी कैपिटलिस्टिक, इतनी मर्केंटाइल, इतनी इंडस्ट्रियल. इट वाज नॉट टू दैट एक्सटेंट. बट पॉलिटिकल कॉन्शियसनेस बुर्जुआजी की उससे भी फार अहेड हमारी, हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में, हमारी फ्रीडम मूवमेंट में रिफ्लेक्ट हो रही है. कांग्रेस के अंदर जो
yes,
नेहरू द्वारा लेड है,
yes, yes,
नेहरू,
yes,
लाला लाजपत राय एंड मैनी अदर पर्संस,
yes,
तो उसी तरह कम्युनिस्ट, क्योंकि नेहरू को हम इसलिए इसमें इंक्लूड कर रहे हैं बिकॉज ही वाज एटलीस्ट द पर्सन हु अंडरस्टैंड, हु रेड मार्क्सिज्म, और वो
yes,
मार्क्सिस्टों के साथ था, इंगेज हुआ, उन सारी चीजों से इंगेज हुआ. तो वाज देयर ए चांस से इट इन 1920 गांधी अपना रास्ता ले रहा है जो और ले रहे हैं, टू गिव इट दैट प्रोलिटेरियन कॉन्शियसनेस एंड
नहीं,
बिल्ड दिस कंट्री ऑन दैट प्रोलिटेरियन कॉन्शियसनेस.
नहीं, वो चांस इसलिए नहीं था. गांधी के आने से पहले कांग्रेस का जो करेक्टर था, इट वाज गोइंग ऑन द लाइन ऑफ सेक्युलर लाइंस, जो कि ब्रिटिश बुर्जुआ डेमोक्रेसी के हिसाब से था. और उसमें एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पिलर होते थे मोहम्मद अली जिन्ना, who led Congress delegation to Britain also. I think somewhere in 1909 or 7, something like that. When Gandhi came in 1915 back to India from South Africa, Gandhi was a staunch Hindu. उनको इस बात को कहने में शर्म कभी नहीं थी कि मैं सनातनी हिंदू. मैंने अपने आर्टिकल में गांधी को दो तरीके से डिफाइन किया है. पॉलिटिकली ही वाज लिबरल एंड सेक्युलर, बट रिलीजियसली ही वाज ए स्ट्रॉन्ग हिंदू. और उस समय हिंदू महासभा ऑल्सो यूनाइटेड. उससे पहले प्रादेशिक हिंदू सभाएं होती थी इन डिफरेंट पार्ट्स ऑफ द कंट्री. देवर ऑल यूनिफाइड. उस इलाहाबाद में जो कुंभ मेला हुआ था, उसमें गांधी 1915 में जब कांग्रेस के अंदर ये बिल्कुल क्लियर हो गया, और उसी के 4-5 साल बाद जिन्ना को बाहर होना पड़ा बिकॉज ही वॉज रिप्रेजेंटिंग द सेक्युलर एलिमेंट. 1920s में गांधी ने जब खिलाफत आंदोलन को सपोर्ट किया और असहयोग आंदोलन को, नॉन कॉपरेशन, तो जिन्ना हैड अपोज्ड. दिस इज, मुस्लिम्स को अपीसमेंट करने का ये तरीका ठीक नहीं है. इट विल हैव ए बैकलैश ऑन हिंदू फंडामेंटलिस्ट, विल आल्सो बिकम वेरी अग्रेसिव. गांधी ने नहीं माना. गांधी ने खिलाफत आंदोलन का मूवमेंट किया, टर्की विल बी द खलीफा एंड ऑल. और दूसरा असहयोग आंदोलन, और 2 साल बाद चौरी चौरा में विड्रॉ कर लिया, जिसके लिए वार्न किया था जिन्ना ने कि आप इस नॉन कोऑपरेशन पे जाएंगे, ब्रिटिशर्स को मौका मिलेगा, वैसे ही वो अपना दमन और अत्याचार शुरू करेंगे, सारा मूवमेंट फेल हो जाएगा। एंड दैट्स व्हाट हैपेंड। कांग्रेस पार्टी डिसइंटीग्रेटेड। All these stalwarts, including Motilal Nehru, left Congress in 1920. Jinnah was thrown out in Nagpur session of Congress in 1920. तो कांग्रेस तो पूरी तरह फंडामेंटल सो गई थी, उसके अंदर जितने प्रोग्रेसिव एलिमेंट्स थे उनको बाहर निकाल दिया गया था। नेहरू वॉज वाइज एनफ। अगर नेहरू निकल जाते बाहर तो नेहरू की भी वही हालत होती जो बाकी कम्युनिस्ट की थी। नेहरू न्यू कि इस कंट्री को फ्रीडम तो सिर्फ ब्रिटिशर्स के कॉपरेशन से ही मिल पाएगी, यहाँ चाइना वाला रेवोल्यूशन और सोवियत यूनियन वाला नहीं होने वाला है। कांग्रेस को कंट्रोल में रख पाएगा जो भी, वही इस कंट्री को आगे बढ़ा पाएगा। सो मोतीलाल नेहरू लेफ्ट कांग्रेस, बट नेहरू डिड नॉट। Jawaharlal Nehru continued in Congress. That's why he became most trusted lieutenant to Mahatma Gandhi. So this is all historical development. Individuals took their own decisions depending upon their own wisdom, and collective decisions of organizations, parties took their own decisions depending upon their own wisdom. So this is what is the dialectical materialism teaches us. Dialectical relationship of being in consciousness and dialectical relationship between individual consciousness and collective consciousness.